What you just did is make the most racist comment to tell them that their fathers, blessed to have their fathers in their home, like myself, that if they voted for Trump, that they only did it because they wish they were white.
If you think all the kids in that classroom agrees with that teacher, you have lost your mind. Not all the kids agree with him. He should pose a situation. The classroom is the marketplace of ideas. It should be ideas. What he's doing is squashing ideas.
You know, if you're standing on business nowadays, they attack you and you're crazy and you're a sexist or you're a misogynist.
I got pride, I got power. We out to get paid, not by the hour. Never gonna stop fighting. I ain't no coward. If you ain't down, turn around. I won't be sour. Nah.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. I'm here with my good brother Ron Edwards again. Back to, get some words out to the community. Check the temperature, check the pulse, and just make sure that we keep people informed on the issues that matter here to us locally. One of our schools has been affected by a story that's gone nationwide, and Ron was the one actually to bring this one to my attention. But before we go any further, I want to hear from Ron. We're back in the building, back here to talk to you, good people. My name is James Buck. They call me Buck Ballzy. But enough about me. Welcome in, everybody. Happy holidays to you all. Hope your families are well. What's going on with you, Ron?
Well, James, my brother, it's good to be back here with you, sir. And God is doing some things in our lives. Yes. He's doing some things in Moreno Valley citizens' lives. We got constituents out there that are conservative. So we want the conservative voice to be heard. We want the conservative voice to be shared. American principles are successful principles. That's why everybody across this globe is walking, swimming, taking rafts, taking boats, and taking planes to get to the United States of America. Is those American values, and those American values are Christian values or Christian principles. Those Christian principles are conservative principles, and those are the principles that make us successful as a nation. And I'm just glad to be here with you, James. We are here because we want to address the topic. This thing has been going on in the news. We've heard about it. A teacher in the Moreno Valley Unified School District has been involved in an incident, something that happened when he was on the job and in the classroom. And we want to make sure that the Moreno Valley Unified School District and its board is representing the constituents and not a select few. This is something I wrote that I put on Facebook and also put on Instagram, and it's talking about this incident. Listen to this. Since California politicians are so concerned about racist speech, then why is the Moreno Valley Unified School District and its board allowing teachers to make profane, racist, and hate speech to Hispanic students while on the job and in the classroom environment? The Moreno Valley Unified School District and its board needs to be held accountable and responsible for its employees and teachers' racist hate speech. Moreno Valley Unified School District and its board is on the precipice of demonstrating bad behavior, bad citizenship, and work and being a model and example for its students. The board should be an example and a model for all students. Let's watch and see if the Moreno Valley Unified School District and its board will serve its students' best interests or try to sweep this under the rug, this employee's behavior. Maybe Moreno Valley Unified School District and its board should follow California politicians' example and remove its teacher who used racist terms, profanity, and hate speech. Will the board fail in its job assignment? That's the question I ask. We need to make them accountable, and they're accountable to us. The board is supposed to be accountable to the students. The board is supposed to be accountable to the parents. and the constituents in the area. All of us are paying taxes for this school board and for this school district. We pay taxes so kids can have a good education and they can be prepared for the future, for their future, for our future, for Riverside, Moreno Valley's future. So we do want to talk about this issue, and I'm going to hand it back to you, James.
Well, thank you so much for caring so much, because as soon as I looked into this, Ron, a flood of emotions and feelings and thoughts came over me, even as I'm listening to you talk right now. You know, there's a thing called critical race theory, you know, that they're teaching in schools. And I really feel like it's sad because maybe something that seems to have good intention for a segment of people who feel like their history has been misrepresented or underrepresented, and now they're trying to present something that feels like it's servicing us, but again, we're being used as a tool to push a certain agenda, and it hurts so bad when I see that, because I've been on both sides, Ron. When I first heard of some of these things being taught about white supremacy and stuff like that in schools, I was like, yeah, we need to hear about this. This is the stuff that's really, you know, affecting us, you know, because it just feels, as a young brother, sometimes there is a lot of vitriol or judgment, or, you know, when they pretty much, it always comes back to the victimhood, you know, the police brutality and things like that. It just feels like there's a weight on top of you, or a ceiling, you know, and when it gets addressed, even if the way that it's being addressed isn't beneficial to you, it feels good. You know, you finally feel like you're getting your due, or your comeuppance, or somebody's recognizing you, you know? So it hurts so bad because I saw how the students protested, and I see how the politics are being used in our schools, and it's sickening, man. It's sickening, because this is the type of stuff that infects our universities, and this is a lot of where that liberal groupthink, that mind comes from, that hive, and they'll attack you because of having conservative values or standing firm on your beliefs. The kids say standing on business. You know, if you're standing on business nowadays, they attack you, and you're crazy, and you're a sexist, or you're a misogynist, or you're a white supremacist. You're all these names, you know, a xenophobe, or what's the other one when you don't, or you go against the Jewish community, anti-Semite, you know, all these names are just hurled at people constantly to shut you up and put you back in your place, man. So thank you for bringing this to my attention, Ron. How I heard about this initially was on the Moreno Valley Matters page. So shout out to the Moreno Valley Matters page. I don't know who's running that page, but they often keep people informed, and people are talking in the chat, so you know kind of what's going on in the area based on their posts. And initially, I just thought it was the Democrats crying and being upset because they lost the election. I'm glad, though, that you wanted to come here and talk about it, because we can really dive into to what's really going on. And it's they're indoctrinating our kids, you know, with propaganda. And I was a victim of that. Me and my wife have had discussions since this has happened, and we can look back on our childhood and realize when we were victim to that, and it's separating them from the values of their parents. So it causes division in the home too, because then the kids think, well, they more in the know than the parents. The parents are old school, you know, that way of thinking is outdated, you know. And I had those thoughts, man. So I'm gonna play some videos to catch all the people up. If you guys aren't aware of what has happened, I'm just gonna play the news clip that covered it, and then I'll pass you the mic and we can continue from there. I also have the clips of the teacher who made all the comments, and oh my gosh, Ron, the comments, when you hear them in the raw form, not the news reported form, it's even worse than I thought. Yeah, oh my goodness. Let me play the clip and then I'll give you the mic.
Valley High School teacher put on leave for voicing his opinions about President-elect Trump. Tonight, his students are standing up for him. They're staging a walkout, and KCAL's Joy Benedict shows us today's rally.
Their voice was clear and the message heard.
I find it so messed up that
they put him on leave for speaking the truth.
As dozens of students at Valley View High School in Moreno Valley walked out of class in defense of an AP World History teacher recorded last week during a lecture.
I'm so sorry, guys. You deserve better. Look at me. You deserve better.
He was discussing the election in his 10th grade classes and giving his opinions about President-elect Donald Trump. Some students we spoke with felt he went too far.
But has Donald Trump quoted Hitler? Yes. Does he embody some of Hitler's ideas? Yes.
I was shocked at first, but he was stating the truth that, like, we need to voice our opinions to make this matter.
Devani Casas is in his class.
After, at the end of his discussion, he offered everybody a hug if they want to talk about it further.
The teacher is now on administrative leave for behavior the district called unprofessional in an email to parents. Students started a change.org petition and now staged this walkout supporting him, hoping he'll come back.
I think that this is what we should be doing as students. We are angry, we are upset, and we have a right to say what we want to say about one of our, probably our favorite teacher at school.
It's your First Amendment to speak about freedom of speech.
And some parents with students in his class agree.
Keep in mind, this is a world history AP class. So once he explained everything to me, it all makes sense.
But whether the district feels the same has yet to be determined.
Is our country racist? Yes. Is our country patriarchal? Yes. Can we change it? Maybe.
I'm really heartbroken that they would put him on leave because he was speaking the truth.
The school district says this situation remains under investigation, and they encourage students and parents to address their concerns to the school's principal. Joy Benedict, KCAL News.
Wow. One-sided, James. The thing is, it's one-sided in the classroom, in the schools. And mind you, these are K through 12. This is not college. So even though an AP class, and one of the things that really comes to my mind, an illustration that can make people kind of see the way I see it, the teacher in the classroom should be like the referee. So if you got a baseball game, you got the blue team, you got the red team. The referee doesn't have a team. The referee is not getting up there taking a swing at the ball. The referee is not pitching pitches. He's not throwing strikes. He's not throwing fastballs. He's not throwing four-seamers, two-seamers. He's not doing change-ups. He's the referee. So it needs to be equal time. If you think all the kids in that classroom agrees with that teacher, you have lost your mind. There's not all the kids agree with him. He should pose a situation. The classroom is the marketplace of ideas. It should be ideas. What he's doing is squashing ideas on the right. If there's a left, there's a right. If there's a up, there's a down. So that teacher, another aspect of it, he's using profane language. So if you're going to encourage thought, because school should be a place where kids think. It shouldn't be indoctrination. Right. It should be education. And so what teachers should concentrate on is giving students information from both sides, all perspectives, and then teach that kid to have critical thinking skills so they make up their own mind. He's involved in indoctrination, and some of the kids are, they're indoctrinated already, but not all those kids are indoctrinated, because I know my son wasn't indoctrinated when he went through Valley View High School. So he needs to, and my main concern is what the school district is going to do, James. The teacher as an employee, he needs to be reprimanded. And there's a lot of people in the district constituents that are calling for him to be terminated. Really, he overstepped his bounds. And it's not just the content of what he said in his meaning and his thought, but it's the profanity. Yeah. He's using profane language to these minors. These are juvenile students. These are somebody's children, and he's using profane language on the job. This is on the job. So the school board needs to be held accountable. If they don't hold him accountable, that school board needs to be held accountable. Those people on that board, they need to be fired if they don't fire this teacher. They need to be held accountable. The parents require that. The students need that in their lives. They need adults to come in the classroom, to come in the board in the school district, and they need adults, not children. This man represents a whiny child. Yeah. He's complaining because he don't get his way. Yeah. So that's how the left is when they don't win and they don't get their way. You know, I've seen parents in years past. My son's 20 years old now, but I've known people that tell me, they say, well, when one kid is their birthday, the other kid, I got to buy him a gift too. No. You're the parent. Right. You're the adult. Right. Now, we're all being kids, but some kids, I want a gift too. Well, it's not your birthday. Yes. So that's life. And that's life. The parent job is to train, to teach, and educate their children. So we as parents, we have hired the school district, the teachers, to teach our children a subject. Not politics. He's getting paid not to give his opinion on whether Donald Trump should have been elected as president. Right. That's not what he's hired for. If you're in a history class, teach history, and you can give both sides of the issue, and it should be equal time as well. Don't give the left 20 minutes and then give the right 1 minute. So it's a lot of things we can talk about, James, but those are just some points that really kind of stood out to me right away. And I think my main concern is that this school board doesn't talk about we're doing an investigation and then sweep it under the rug and just give them a little reprimand. Yeah. No, this teacher used profane language in the classroom and on the job. That is totally unacceptable. We cannot tolerate teachers using profane language to our kids.
Yes, indeed, because they work for us.
They work for us.
Yeah, we cannot forget that. What you said, though, is very powerful. Two things came to mind. Not only is it in the schools, but the media is doing the same exact thing. And I love the word you used. It's a place to like cultivate thought. You know, it's and the same thing for the media. So constantly they're being inundated with one side of the story, even as we saw in that media coverage of it. They focused more on the walkout than the actual event that happened. And yeah, that profanity-laced tirade he went on, I encourage everybody to go on Twitter and listen to it. I have some clips of it here, but I think we have more important business than to regurgitate the nasty talking points that he spewed. So the person, though, that broke this story online on Twitter, shout out to him. Let me give you his name right now. It's Corey A. DeAngelis. On Twitter, his handle is at DeAngelis Corey. Man, my pronunciation is terrible today. DeAngelis Corey. So shout out to him. He's the one that has all the clips. Apparently, one of the students must have recorded this in privacy because you can't see anything. It's like he had the phone under his hoodie or something. But shout out to that student as well. Thank you so much. Whoever you are, kudos to you. So they did finally name the teacher. And in all balance and fairness, I do want to actually read the response from the city since we're putting them, holding them account. Absolutely. So this is the response from Moreno Valley Unified School District after the event. So this was on November 9th. It says, "Dear Moreno Valley School District families, we were recently made aware of an incident at one of our high schools in which a staff member's discussion about the election results turned unprofessional. We do not condone the behavior that occurred, and an immediate investigation has been launched. The staff member involved has been placed on administrative leave pending the outcome of this investigation. We recognize the heightened emotions surrounding the current political climate, and we deeply value the diversity of our community, which encompasses a wide range of perspectives and beliefs. Our goal is to foster a respectful and inclusive learning environment that supports all students." So it sounds like they're saying the right things. Now, this is the response from the principal, Mr. Chris Gilliat. So this was at Valley View High School. Dear Mr. Perez's AP World History class, it was brought to the administration's attention that during class yesterday, the topic of the election results surfaced and became heated. We want to thank those that came forward to express their concerns. Just like you said, everybody wasn't in agreement with that, even though the news didn't speak on that. As we strive to create a strong and welcoming environment for all. While we expect conversations regarding politics and political viewpoints to be discussed in an AP World History class, we also expect it to remain respectful. That's all we're asking. We do not condone the behavior that was exhibited in class yesterday, and we thank those that brought it to our attention so we could address the issue. So that's the city's response, and I know you want to make sure it goes further than just an investigation. I also did see on Mr. DeAngelis's Twitter feed, because he really went in on this. So again, shout out to him. There was a city hall meeting, or this is, let's see, public comments on non-agenda items. This is the board meeting. Yeah, were you privy to this meeting?
I wasn't privy to it. I saw something online
that was posted. I'm gonna play a quick clip of this, and then I'll pass the mic back to you so you can give some comments, and then I got a couple more things to share.
Okay.
We have attracted the attention of the world's richest man, Elon Musk, Corey DeLangelis, one of the top education experts. We even have a board member from a competing or neighboring school district here tonight. Why they're here? Looking at the absolutely 6-alarm dumpster fire that's been going on in this school district for decades, and you have not done hardly anything to correct it. Now the world knows. We're world famous on something, and it's not very good.
Go ahead. Yes. Okay, and that was a guy. He's a citizen here in Moreno Valley, from what I understand. Roy Bleckert, I believe. But there were some other. He alluded to some others being here at that school board meeting.
Several clips, yeah.
Yeah, and so I know some of those guys that was here. Yeah, there a lot of attention needs to be on this issue because the behavior of the teacher was inappropriate. The language, the verbal attack upon the students, it was a racial assault. The teacher is an adult, and those students are minors, mind you. We can talk about AP class all you want. This is an adult verbally assaulting minors, referring to their father's nationality, ethnicity, referring to their grandfather's ethnicity, then passing judgment saying that those ethnicities, in this case Hispanics, wanted to be white. These are his words, not mine. So we're commenting on this because this is inappropriate behavior. If you was to address someone's child and read them up and down concerning their mom, their dad, their grandparents, their refer to their ethnicity, then you refer to them wanting to, in racial terms, wanting to be white. Another ethnic, so you don't like your ethnicity, you want to be white. I mean, there's several layers to this onion that needs to be peeled, and just like that onion, your eyes are going to be hurting. Yeah, because this is sad. This is sad for Moreno Valley. This is sad for Moreno Valley Unified School District, and this is sad for Valley View High School. Valley View High School is like a magnet school. It's a school. It's the high school that's designed to be the STEM school. So you go through Northridge, then you go through Palm, and then you go through Valley View High School. That's the track. So we're talking about a school that's designated to really kind of set the tone and be an example, a model. That teacher is supposed to be a model. That teacher is supposed to be an example. That's bad behavior that he exemplified. We need to address that, and we need to make sure that that does not happen again. When you address children in the classroom, it needs to be respectful, always respectful. The person that's making sure that the students are civil in the classroom is that teacher, and that teacher is not civil. That was a verbal assault. That was a verbal assault if I ever saw one. So this school board needs to be held, their feet need to be held to the fire. They are not going to sweep this under the rug. We need to make it known in Moreno Valley, and all of us that are conservatives, that are for right and wrong, that are for law-abiding citizenship, we need to make sure he's disciplined for his citizenship. If a student went in that classroom, I don't care if it's an A student, B student, he could be the best student in the world. You can hug that student, kiss that student. That student could be great. But if that student exemplifies bad citizenship, come in there using profane language, you have to address that. So it's so much more we can say, James. But one thing before I give you the mic, when you look at the reports on Moreno Valley Unified School District, the reading proficiency is atrocious. The math proficiency is atrocious. So we have bigger concerns when our kids are in school than who won the presidential election. We want our kids to be able to read, we want them to be able to write, and we want them to be able to do calculations on their level, on a proficient level, at a grade level. So when I look at, this is the Public School Review, and I printed this out. And so this is talking about the Moreno Valley Unified School District. Almost every metric you can look at when it comes to Moreno Valley Unified School District is in the bottom 50% of public schools. The bottom 50. That's white kid, black kid, I don't care what kind of kid. Moreno Valley Unified School District is operating at below 50%. And that's crazy. So it's some numbers here we can look at. It talks about math scores, proficiency, that's real low. And like I said, we could talk about these and go through this maybe at a later date. But this is what we as citizens want. We got citizens in this community talking about jobs. And we want to get rid of warehouse jobs, and we don't want warehouses. Well, the school is not preparing your kids for anything but a warehouse job. You're at the bottom 50%. How is your kid going to do anything else if the school is failing them? This teacher has failed those students. This school district is failing students and failing the citizens of this students because that's all they're going to be able to do is a warehouse job.
Yes, indeed. And like you're saying, and like the gentleman that spoke at the board meeting was saying, this is systemic. He said this has been going on for decades. Not only was this an issue at Valley High School here in Moreno Valley, but it happened in Chino as well. Did you see that, the news coverage on that? Yeah, so similar situation. Matter of fact, I'm going to play a quick clip of that too, because this was on the news as well. So again, going to the point that we're making, this isn't just a one-time incident. This has been an indoctrination, and you mentioned this is not college, even though this is an AP class. So it just feels like that liberal hold that's been put on the educational sector in the universities is just trickling its way down into the high schools, if it's not already very present there, as we've seen over time, especially with some of the gender issues. But let me play this quick clip. This is from Chino.
Yeah, and keep in mind, this is a very popular teacher who's been here at Chino High for
Again,
years.
a very popular
now,
teacher.
Neither the parents of the kid who wore the hat or the students who got the whole exchange on their cell phones wants to go on camera or be identified. But this thing has gone viral on social media. And here's what it sounds like.
I'm pissed. People voted for freaking rapists. I'm pissed off.
It's the voice of a Chino High teacher reacting to a student walking into his class wearing a Trump hat the day after the election.
Turn it off and tell him to go back to your freaking seat now. Go. Take the. Can you send security up, please, to room B205? I have a boy who has a Trump hat on, and I'm not going to tolerate it today. Bye-bye.
Unfortunately, this video is real.
The president of the Chino Valley Unified School Board of Education.
I don't want to attack people because that's the problem. There's a lot of attacks going on, just like these teachers have this hate, this vitriol, this they just want to spew, but they sound like beta men to me. I'm not going to lie to you, Ron. I wonder, it wasn't two female teachers, and I know the majority of teachers are women. So I wonder why it was the two men teachers that felt the need to rant like this. And again, I brushed it off at first because if you looked on social media, everybody was freaking out after the election. People were crying and screaming and just having these emotional moments. And I'm like, this is the world we're in now, where people think we really want to see your emotional breakdown online. Like, what are we really doing? So we're in a world, where, Ron, where it feels like adults are no longer adulting. There is no separation. When we just listened to that video, he sounded more emotionally charged than the teenagers in his classroom. So he has no control over himself, no decorum. Yeah, it's ridiculous. And one thing I wanted to touch on, so the brother that broke the story on Twitter, he actually dug into some of the agenda behind that teacher. And again, Ron, it pulled at my heartstrings because the reason why they're saying these teachers are the favorite is because I believe somewhere deep down inside, these teachers believe what they're spewing and they believe they're doing good. And I was affected by this. Let me read you some of this because this is some of the stuff even my wife knows that I would have loved to hear while I was in school. And this teacher might have been one of my favorite teachers if I was in school. So right here it says, this is from his kind of approach on his teaching and what he's trying to portray to his students. So the evidence and activities are centered around the understanding of inherent racism and white supremacy practiced upon communities of indigenous people to erase their culture and community. You know that would have hit my heartstrings, babe. Indigenous people and erase their cultures and community, such as the Dawes Act, which is where we get the $5 Indians from, the Dawes Act and the boarding schools of indoctrination. These lesson plans improve education for diverse classrooms and students that are minorities. It is culturally accountable on the United States and the cultures of every people in this nation that distract or outright deny the rights of sovereign nations. These lesson plans, particularly the second one, creates a new sense of awareness to the plight of one of the most... Oh, that was the last page of it. But as you can see, that would have spoke to me in a previous, younger, less experienced version of myself. And I would have thought he was championing my experience, you know? So that's the reason why this type of messaging is so effective, especially coming from minority communities where you feel underrepresented. Man, Ron, so yeah. And you said it, though. You said it so eloquently in our last sit down is they're very good with their words and they come off as compassionate. When I can see now, this is just stroking more division. This is making the racism problem much worse and the division much worse.
Absolutely. They're not compassionate. You know, it's so many examples that we see all throughout, especially California. The decisions and the legislation that's coming out of California, the legislature, Gavin Newsom, Corey Jackson, and these people, it's not compassionate. It's not compassionate to take one man that goes to work, take his money and give it to a guy that doesn't go to work. I don't care what do you give him money for?
Call it equity.
They're taking your equity. They're taking your hard, we call sweat equity. You go to work, you get some real estate people know that. You can go to work and it equates to money because that's what we all do. I remember when I was a young man and we had the, people that would stand on the side of the corner or stand at the exit from the freeway, and they had a sign saying, "I work for food." Well, what I quickly grabbed a hold to, I would say, we all working for food. Right? I go to work every day. Well, you know why I'm going to work? Because I want to eat. I love to eat. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to work. And so the guy standing on the side got a sign saying, "I work for food." We're all working for food. They're activists, and they're teaching the students in school to be activists. Yeah. But we need equal time. We need to make them play fair. Like the example I gave, I want everybody to remember this example. When we talk about government, politics, or the marketplace of ideas, there needs to be equal time. If you're going to have a debate, you're going to have an argument, and you're going to have reasoning, then if this guy gets 5 minutes, then this guy gets 5 minutes. Yeah. If this guy get 3 strikes, you don't get this guy 2 strikes and he's out. No, he gets 3 strikes too. What we have in the schools, and we're going to change this. We got all of us constituents, all of us citizens, all of us law-abiding citizens are going to have to stand up and make sure they play this game fair. When it comes to elections, there needs to be fairness in elections. There needs to be election integrity. You don't vote if you're not a citizen. If you don't have ID, you shouldn't vote. All throughout the fabric of our society, there needs to be fairness, there needs to be justice, and there needs to be righteousness. Righteousness just means doing things right. And that's why we have families. And that's why the family is so important, because a mom and a dad are going to teach their kids how to be civil. So we can talk about civic engagement, but you must first be civil. So when we have our kids in our homes, we teach them to be civil to one another. Be civil to your sisters and brothers. You treat them with respect, with dignity, to all these things. So good government always starts in the home. That's a saying for Republicans. Good government always starts in the home. The home is the microcosm for the country we stand in. And if our families are failing, our country is failing. And that's why we see the negative outcomes that they talk about all the time. The reason they're having the negative outcomes is because the family is having a negative outcome. And so when you don't have fathers in the home and mothers in the home, you need a mommy and you need a daddy. I like telling people that. You need a mommy and you need a daddy. Stop listening to these people talking about you don't need a daddy. Oh, you don't need a man. That's ridiculous. You need a man and you need a woman. And you need them to be codependent, interdependent. They work together. I need you and you need me. Are you kidding me? Teaching somebody you don't need your father. You don't need the man. It's teaching somebody you don't need your mother and you don't need the woman. Are you kidding me? No, we need each other. Come on, love. We need each other. In these schools, it needs to be equal time. There's a left hand, there's a right hand, and it washes each other. God bless you, sir, for having me here today, and we're going to stay on top of these issues.
I got one thing we're going to end it on, because we're going to end this on a positive note, y'all. So someone who's in alignment with the way that we're talking and thinking is the president-to-be. So let's hear from Mr. 47, 45, and now 47, and what he would like to do for our children and for the kids and change things up, get it right. So
here are 10 key ideas that will
Mr.
power
Trump.
our movement for great schools. First, we will respect the right of parents to control the education of their children. Second,
that's
we
why
will
Ron
empower parents
Edwards is
and
the
local school
parent's
boards
choice.
to hire and reward great principals and teachers, and also to fire the poor ones, the one whose performance is unsatisfactory. They will be fired. Like on The Apprentice, you're fired. Third, we will ensure our classrooms are focused not on political indoctrination, but on teaching the knowledge and skills needed to succeed. Reading, writing, math, science, arithmetic, and other truly useful
Common
subjects.
sense, right?
Fourth, we will teach students to love their country, not to hate their country like they're taught right now. Fifth, we will support bringing back prayer to our schools.
I feel like I was taught that, to hate my
Sixth,
country.
we will achieve schools that are safe, secure, and drug-free. with immediate expulsion for any student who harms a teacher or another student. 7th, we will give all parents the right to choose another school for their children if they want. It's called school choice. 8th, we will ensure students have access to project-based learning experiences inside the classroom to help train them for meaningful work outside the classroom. 9th, we will strive to give all students access to internships and work experiences that can set them on a path to their first job. They're going to be very, very successful. I want them to be more successful than Trump. Let them go out and be more successful. I will be the happiest person in the world. But we want our children to have a great life and be successful. And 10th, we will ensure that all schools provide excellent jobs and career counseling so that high school and college students can get a head start on jobs and careers best suited to their God-given talents. This is how we will ensure a great education for every American child. And one other thing.
And he's doing away with the Department of Education. What are your thoughts on what President Trump is proposing?
Well, James, I like his proposals because, like you said, it's common sense. And that's one of the messages that we've been pushing ourselves. In this campaign that I just ran for the 60th Assembly District in California, on my business card, I had on the bottom of it the common sense candidate. It's just common sense. So I talked about common sense all the time. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to do this stuff. We all, as moms and dads, that's what we do. Yeah, man, he's doing great things. The national education that's at the federal level, it needs to be scrapped. These things are done at the state level anyway. Man, billions of dollars that they're misappropriating, sending to administrators. We're too top heavy. If you just look at administration, you're not the actual worker. So when you start at the kid level for nursery, so you'll have one administrator for every six children, babies. You don't need one administrator for every 6 employees. You need one administrator for every 6 babies, little ones. As we get older, you need less administration and more workers. You need less people in the wagon, more people outside of the wagon. See, when we were kids, let's pull the wagon, push the wagon, then some people ride in the wagon. What we got going on now is we're top heavy. We have a whole lot of people in the wagon, administrators, just riding on our dime. So they're taking our money, taking the taxes, and they're riding on it. Their moms, their dads, their cousins, their grandkids. Just look at Biden. The whole family's parasites. They're riding on us. So they just raise taxes anytime they want more money. But we need less administration and more workers. That's just a principle that goes all up and down. A lot of this stuff is common sense. It's just like business. Whenever you interact with a person one-on-one, that's how you interact in business. I don't care if it's a LLC. I don't care if it's a sole proprietorship. I don't care if it's a corporation with millions of employees. You have to have something called integrity. When you do business with people, I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do. You do what you're going to say you're going to do. Write a contract. Sign it. That contract, it's integrity. You have to build that trust. Businesses talk about goodwill. When they see that you have their best interests in mind, and nobody minds a businessman making a profit, but it's something that even the Bible talks about is usury. Making more than you should, taking advantage of people. It's okay to make a profit, but don't take advantage of people. So these are principles, like I say, that are common sense principles. They're found in the Word of God. Our country, the reason it's so great, whether we know it or not, these fair, righteous, and just principles are all found in the Word of God.
Amen. Well, thanks again, Mr. Edwards. Thank you for joining us again. We got to come up with a name. If anybody has a good name for this sit down that me and Ron have been doing, drop it in the comments. If you want to see more of us speaking on these local issues, make sure to give us your feedback in the comments. We appreciate you all. Much love. Peace to you, Ron. Take care, brother.
Bless you, sir.
We out.
Amen.
I got pride. power. We out to get paid, not by the hour. Never gonna stop fighting. I ain't no coward. If you ain't down, turn around. I won't be sour. Nah, I got pride, I got power. We out to get paid, not by the hour. Never gonna stop fighting. I ain't no coward. If you ain't down, turn around. I won't be sour.
If you think all the kids in that classroom agrees with that teacher, you have lost your mind. There's not all the kids agree with him. He should pose a situation. The classroom is the marketplace of ideas. It should be ideas. What he's doing is squashing ideas.